Hello, it's Aubrey Shepherd on the 7th and 10th. These parcels will be recorded for public access television. And first we've got Veterans Memorial 5K race. It'll be next week when you see the results of this, but you can see them on Facebook and places like that over the weekend. And that was my 76th birthday party. You can see my daughter on the right, Lauren on the left, my daughter's mother next to her, and friends John and Anita there for that small party this year, not like the big one last year. Okay, we've got some, this is a Gulf Fritillary. We don't see these very often in northwest Arkansas. These are the first ones I've seen this year, I believe. And these are actually on some, not necessarily native plants, but they're great nectar plants for all species. And that's the Gulf Fritillary showing its back and showing its side view. And I'm glad we were lucky enough to get these, even though it was right at the end of the season. And they are beautiful butterflies. Okay, here's Monarch. It's a male. You see the little lumps in the bottom center there on the lines. That one may be a female. Can't tell from the side. Okay, here's a nice swallowtail of a dark variety. And here's a Gulf Fritillary in motion. And these guys were whipping around so fast. Okay, not sure which bird I've got here, but it's a pretty nice close-up, I thought, so I had to share a bird or two. Funny, they weren't bothering them. They're in the same area as these butterflies, and that one's clearly a female monarch. But the birds that were there were not bothering them. They were flying in for their own purposes, the same area. And I thought, gosh, are they going to take out one of these butterflies? But no, I never saw anything like that. They were strictly looking for some other source of fuel for their probably continuing flight south. This is a moth, and you can see the size of it compared to that bumblebee at left in the picture, and then the honeybee down below. This Gulf Fritillary is, again, just another view, because I might not see any more of these this year, and it might be way next year. Here's see the little white trim on the outside, and if you just describe this moth on the internet, you will probably immediately, if you describe it well, get a picture, a bunch of pictures, and its actual name. And I won't try to recall the scientific name of this little moth, but it's pretty rare in northwest Arkansas. It may be more common out west. Till next time, do your part to help keep the water clean, the air pure, and the woods green. We'll talk about politics next segment. Hello, it's Aubrey Shepherd. On the 10th of November 2016, we'll talk about some recent events. The World Series, the Cubs won it. Notice this chart of how long it's been since different teams have won. And what's that? Oh, Cubs marked out, so they're not on the list of long lost. And here's something from TV, the group thanking the people that made it happen. Cubs folks in Chicago and all over the country are happy. Lioneld Jordan, we'll talk about his event in a minute. Omni 350 had a climate change book forum talking about the Diamond Pipeline in particular. Edward Hedgemanic was the leader of that event, had to get this big old robin. He or she's eating non-native berries, but boy, they like everything they can get when they migrate through. Okay, here's Lionel Jordan's wife, and she was holding signs, sitting there with signs before the election. This guy went across the street, and what did he do? He sat down on some people's porch and talked on his phone. Oh, my daughter, Deirdre's happy to have voted, wearing her little button, I voted, and everybody who voted early for sure got one, and maybe late too. Okay, these are people at the Lionel Jordan celebration after a big win for a third term as mayor of Fayetteville, and everybody seems to love Lionel Jordan. There was a bunch of people who showed up for that, and it was widely advertised, but at the same time there was the, okay, here are the Leffler brothers, and that's Rob and Charles at right, and they insisted on making a picture of the photographer, and so that's me and Charles Leffler. And you know, this lady, she worked for the city for a long time, and she and her husband there was celebrating Lionel's win. And here, this, well, the lady at right in the background in the check shirt, she runs the local land trust. And I believe those are two daughters, I believe she has there. Lionel and a local attorney and many other people in some of these pictures. TV cameras, 2 different stations trying to record what he was saying, and people talking to him and that sort of thing. And well, we've got 4 ladies there, I believe all big fans of Lionel. I won't even try to name everybody. Right there, Hillary Clinton was leading in Virginia according to the Monitor, but even though she got the majority of actual votes, she didn't win the election. And that was the sad news that started becoming possible to happen toward the end of this party for Lionel. But there's Nancy Allen, and here you go. 3 of the newly re-elected council members were there, and sorry we didn't have the 4th one in there. And there's Beth Presley and Lauren Hawkins talking about things out on the deck, and there were a bunch of people sitting out there as well as inside. Susan Young at left, and maybe you know the other 2, don't have time for them at this second. And there's Nate Allen, the sports writer. He was not in the election. He kept reminding people, I'm not the Nathan Allen running. And there's Jeff Irv on the left, and Jeff Irv straight up, and he has been a long-time Lionel supporter. Okay, Susan Norton, her husband, and Don from the mayor's office, and there's a man at the left that's a really good young man, and he's been working with local politics for years. Hillary says this is painful, it'll be but we cherish having a peaceful transfer of power, and that is the right attitude to have in spite of the sad situation. Tree maintenance workshop, you might, if you're really interested in it, you might just be allowed to get into that meeting and learn more about taking care of your own trees and the street trees. See ya.